the level. He's thought, how can I utilize this Buzzwole? How can I make it effective? He's playing for Guzma. For Guzma and Lycanroc GX.
Yeah, it almost came full circle because at first Buzzwole was on the really big cards when, it was first announced to be in Crimson Invasion. I thought, it's going to be one of the best cards in the set. Then it sort of, seems like it was falling off a little bit, like you said. Seems like there was... more, it seemed like Celesteela and Sylvali would be like the really sort of big hype things. And granted, they've still done very well, so it's not as if they haven't proven themselves. But Buzzwole sort of coming in there as well and proving that it is still worth mention, and it's always come back to almost, maybe not quite to the point where it was before, but one of the top contenders from the set, no doubt. And he will, of course, be playing against Zakary Krekeler, who you saw just there on the right, who has, actually, I believe, has been on the backup stream multiple times today, but now
he's just not made it on the main stream.
Yeah, so. But he's here now. He's earned his spot in the top 8 and on the main stage, and he will be playing...
He'll be playing a Metal Toolbox deck. So this is actually, Sylvali GX, utilizing Metal Attacker, should we say. He has things in his deck. So he has the 3 Sylvali GX, which is really great for its ability, which gives all of your basic Pokemon free retreat. But he has things like Registeel in there. He has things like Celesteela GX in there. He has Katana GX in there. He even has the one Delmise to try and get more attack, try and get more power when he's attacking. And also the one Genesect EX as well.
So this truly will be the clash of the new archetypes. Who will be able to prove that they are the best contender from all the new cards? Will it be Zakary backing up with Celesteela and Co. and Sylvali, or will it be Teddor with Buzzwole?
Absolutely, and I'm very excited to see how this one's going to play out. The players at the moment are just waiting for their decks from the judges. They are just having their decks sort of checked over, make sure everything's okay. But at the moment, while we're waiting, I can see they're just about to set up at the moment. But sorry, Nick, you have a point.
I have to draw attention to this. I'm sorry. So I've just been looking over Zachary's deck list, and I've just seen the player ID number on his sheet, and that is one of the lowest player IDs I've ever seen. It's a 4-digit number. Are you ready for this? 1,483.
1,480. Wow. I think my player ID is like, 6-7 digits, something like that.
So the numbers are, I think, they're done sort of sequentially. So that means that is one of the. He's been playing for a very, very long time.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that would make a lot of sense. So, Zachary's certainly no stranger to the game. A lot of people obviously know who he is. He's very successful at these big events, and even so much so that he's taken this new archetype and done so well with it. Who do you fancy as the I guess someone to have the upper hand, if you like? If you had to pick one of these players who you think might just edge it, who would you go with?
If you're going in terms of pure type advantage, the advantage has to go to Teddor. The Buzzwole GX does, of course, hit the Sylvali for weakness. It is weak to fighting. And so if Teddor's able to get off a constant stream of hitting things for weakness and just knocking Sylvalis out, that's going to play really well for him. However, if we're talking about pure experience, got to hand it to Zakary. That's that low player ID number sort of says it all, folks. He has been in this game for a long, long time, and he will be at the minimal end of mistake making compared to a lot of players today.
Absolutely, and sometimes these players, these experienced players, they find a way. When their backs are against the wall, they do find a way. You only have to look at someone as successful as perhaps maybe Jason Klaczynski. You look at that finals that he had at the National Championships, I believe it was 2015, when he was playing that Seismitoad Garbodor deck against that Wailord deck, that Wailord EX deck, and still managed to find a way to get out of that situation and win the national championship. So these experienced players, experience has a lot going for you.
Yeah, could not agree more. And all the same, I'm not actually as familiar with Teodor's history. He's obviously here in the top 8. He's proven himself just as well. But it's a really cool thing to see. Again, it's the old battle of perhaps the known versus the not well known. And no matter who wins, you got to be
excuse my pun.
Sorry,
the unknown. Excuse my pun.
Dear.
I'm here all night, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes. So, these are, as we were saying earlier, these are where players are, they do set a target on their heads when they start doing so well at these events. You do start to, recognize a lot of these players, like we recognize Zakary in this case. Teddor, I'm not too sure what kind of achievements he has post this or prior to this, but so we can see actually the players are just, very, very close to kicking things off. We're very short, not far away. We can see them just cutting each other's decks, and 2 judges at the table as well.
Yeah, just to make sure that everything proceeds properly. So both players are going to draw their opening hands. Let's see if we can get a look at what they open with right now. So we can't really get a good from where we're sitting at right now. But it looks like neither player has a mulligan, or actually Teddor might have a mulligan. Yeah, there it is.
But what I love about these events actually is that, I mean, you can hear the noise in the background when when people are sitting outside in the audience. They are, watching these games on the screens, and it's so exciting. It's such a great experience to be a part of. Whether you're playing or whether you're commentating or whether you're just spectating, it's just such a great environment and community to be involved in.
Oh, well, for sure. There's going to be a lot of hype going into these top 8 matches now, and as we can see, Teddor, he does seem to have a basic this time, but he just has it looks to be a light rock in his hand, and he was about to put his prize card to the wrong side, but he sort of fixed that quite quickly, so there you go. Now we can have a look at the prize cards now quickly, just before we show them to you guys. Looks like we have a Sylvali, a double colourless, Registeel, a Fighting Memory, a Max Elixir, and a Metal Energy for the Vince, so that's not too bad there. But on Teddor's side, we have 2 Brooklet Hills that could hurt his consistency a little bit. Other than that, we've got a Regirock, Rock Ralph for Guzma, and an Ultra Ball. Yeah,
so the Regirock could be like a factor in this. He will draw that, I guess if you're going upwards, he will... Oh, Delmai start, okay. So yeah, he will draw that sort of going upwards, so maybe I'll have to like price 3 or 4. But I mean, those, that Regirock in the past, when I was commentating before, does actually add up numbers.
Yeah, it does indeed. And something important to note, as you do see the timer there, throughout the whole of Swiss yesterday and earlier today, we've been doing 50 minutes of Swiss rounds. We are now in the top 8. These players get 75 minutes in order to play out the full rounds. So there ain't going to be any ties here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, even if it was a 50-minute timer, there wouldn't be any ties because the tiebreaker rules are different, but that's the whole of the story. Let's stay into the game. And Zakary starts off with a double colours on a Celesteela and an N.
Absolutely, yeah. 75 minutes is... it's great from a viewing perspective because you want to see these players playing it out. And now that we are in top 8, there will be no ties, as you said, Nick. There will be only winners. So one of these players will progress to tomorrow to compete in the top 4 of the European International Champions.
Yes, so looks like Zakary just ends up benching an Oranguru and passing. Teddor, on the other hand, starts with an Ultra Ball. Always good to see early on. He'll be able to discard a Remoraid and an N. And I imagine that he's going to be going for Tapu Lele for a Bridget.
Yes, that would be the optimum play at this point. We've spoken so much and so highly of this Bridget card.
He's actually not playing it though, so completely ignore me.
Don't worry. Well, that's why we have the deck list here, so we can see exactly, card for card what they're playing. He doesn't play Bridget. That's very interesting. He plays Brooklet Hill. That's why. So Brooklet Hill is the... although he does have 2 Brooklet Hill prize.
Yeah, this is what we were saying earlier, so actually that does hurt him a lot.
That's very, very crucial to his setup. Obviously, he won't know that unless he goes through his deck and tries to work out what is prize. Actually, does he have a... Oh, it might be a Remoraid. I thought maybe I saw... No, okay, it doesn't. I thought maybe I saw a Brooklet Hill in his hand. Let's see what he gets off this Sycamore. But at this moment in time, he doesn't really look like that, having those 2 Brooklet Hills is really hindering him that much.
No, not really. I mean, he's got a Buzzwole with a strong energy on it. That's already super, super strong. He's got a Remoraid down, a second Buzzwole.
Wow.
No, he's actually really good stead. And he draws the Flowstone as well. So he's going to be able to do a first turn Jet Punch for 50 onto the Delmai. So actually, it'll be 30 because the resistance, but then 30 to a bench Pokemon. Really good start.
That's a very strong start from Teddor. And what I love about this is just applies so much pressure. Zakary must be thinking at this point, he's predominantly leading with metal attackers because at this moment in time, that Sylvali is weak to fighting type Pokemon, and obviously, Teddor his deck is predominantly based on fighting type Pokemon. So that's something that he's certainly going to be cautious about. Perhaps just more so use it for the ability, which will give free retreat to Pokemon like Celesteela GX. So, and as you can see, that is indeed the Pokemon that he's leading with, or choosing to lead with.
Yeah, now it's very interesting here. If he's able to get another Metal Energy on and a Choice Band and is able to retreat the Delmais, he will be able to use that Blaster GX on Celesteela to actually take out the Buzzwole. And I imagine if he could go for it, that's what he'd want to do. Whether he will be able to is another matter entirely. But he does have that Metal Energy in his hand. And he's debating attaching it. Is that going to go on Celesteela?
He has Guzma in hand, but the issue with Guzma, if he plays Guzma, he has to... Okay, so he's going for the bench Buzzwole. So it's an interesting play because going That's big. That's really big, because he could have used Max Elixir and then retreated back into the Buzzwole GX. But because he's used that Float Stone, he won't be able to do that, because he'll have to then retreat his active Pokemon. So really, really big play on Zakary's part here.
Yeah, Zakary did try to go for the Choice Band with the Instruct, but decided it was a little bit short. He's going to still use the GX attack. Oh no, it doesn't matter, because the Delmiser's on the bench, so he will do 190.
Oh, of course he will, yes.
So Blaster GX comes into effect, and all of the prize cards will be flipped face up, and that's going to be a KO on the Buzzwole.
And that's not very good for our prize cam, unfortunately. We have all of our cards, all of the prizes flip faced up, so we won't be able to see, unless we kind of look from a more aerial perspective on the table, what the prize cards are, what he's taking. But we do still have access to Teddor's prize cards.
Yeah, we do. So speaking of Teddor, he's going to carry on with his turn. He's got a strong energy, a basic fighting energy to attach to the Buzzwole, which has a strong energy already on it, a Choice Band to boot, and then there's going to be a Sycamore drawing 7. Going to want to find himself a Floatstone here, which he does do.
And he's got the Octillery as well, which is really crucial to this deck, just because obviously it feeds out your resources, like your things like your Max Elixirs. So Ultra Ball, he's going for the 1 fighting energy discard. He's also looking at, what has he got? Another fighting energy. I'm not sure, what is his count on fighting energy?
He does play 9 of them.
So that's fair enough.
So yeah, he's got enough to go through. He can afford to discard a couple. Maybe if he starts discarding 3 or 4 or 5, it might become a bit of an issue, but for now it's okay. He does find himself a Rock Ruff off of that Ultra Ball as well, which is definitely really important to have.
Absolutely, and I don't think he runs any count of things like Super Rod or any kind of Brock's Grit or anything like that, which means that he can't recover the energy, so he's literally just going straight for 2 or 3 knockouts really to win him the game at this rate. But he does have the Rescue Stretcher, which will get him back the Buzzwole that was in the discard pile. Choice Band to the Buzzwole, and now he's using Abyssal Hand to draw 5 cards, the optimum 5 cards with Abyssal Hand with Octillery. Ultra Ball going for the second Octillery and the Zygarde, the non-EX Zygarde. And he's looking through his deck. What is he thinking to get at this moment in time?
I think he might have wanted a second Rockruff. Of course, that second Rockruff is in the prizes. So no, instead he is just going to preemptively grab that Lycan Rock and just telling Zakary, if you don't end me, I'm going to be able to use Bloodthirsty Eyes next turn.
Absolutely, yes. And he's going to be wanting to target things on the bench to get those KOs. And that's what his deck relies on, is getting those KOs from the bench. It doesn't really matter so much what's in the active spot, as long as you're following it up with things, KOing things on the bench. Although at the same time, the Celesteela GX is, quite intimidating at the moment.
You say that, but a huge hit from Teddor as he hits a basic energy off the Max Elixir,
wow.
So that Buzzwole GX is now powered up and ready to go. Could use Absorption GX if he wanted to. That would deal with the Celesteela this turn.
I think that's a really good play at this moment in time, just because it eliminates that threat of that Celesteela GX constantly sort of hitting you every turn for 130 damage, or 140 with the Delmise, and that's indeed what he does. You can see he's flipped over his GX counter. That means he has used his GX attack, and he has taken 2 prizes as a result.
Yeah, that resistance on Celesteela will not be enough to withstand that huge Absorption GX. The attack does 40 damage for each of your remaining prize cards. Teddor had all 6 left remaining, so more than enough to be able to... Actually, can't think it would have been just enough.
So it has the -20 resistance on the Celesteela. I would have to calculate that up.
Yeah, so that would be... Oh god, doing so much maths this weekend.
And that's what you do with Pokemon. You have to work out not just the maths involved in the game, but the probabilities as well. There's a lot of maths involved.
Yeah, so it would have been 240, so yeah, it would have been enough, even without the strong energy. I was wondering if the strong energy made a difference or not, but it wouldn't have done.
Absolutely. So there we go, there's a Lycan Rock. He's going for the second Celesteela GX. That is now in the active spot. Again, it does have free retreats because, yes, he does have Silvally GX on the bench, which gives him the ability to retreat that for free. But how is he going to deal with it? Does he have the knockout here? So he has, so he's got 160 plus the strong energy plus the choice band. That is knockout on the Celesteela GX.
Is it? No, not with the fighting resistance, I don't think.
He has resistance as well. No,
yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you're absolutely right. And there you can see actually one of the cameras as well showing the prize cards. Yes, you are entirely right. I think, he might be 10 short, I think.
Yeah, he will be exactly 10 short. Because of the fighting resistance, he is 10 short.
Very well spotted, yeah. So he will be 10 short. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe what is the best play at this point then? Do you take that, do 190 damage and then kind of follow up with another Buzzwole and do 30-30 or something?
Yeah, I think because this deck does have quite a lot of bench diving capability, I think that's absolutely fine. So, yeah, there it is. They've done the calculations. It will be 190 damage, 10 short the KO of the Celesteela. Zakary might be bringing a sigh of relief there as he does take his draw for turn, although it doesn't seem like he has much to work with, apart from he has an Ace of Roller, though.
Oh, wow. he's I think he might even top deck the Acerola.
Oh, that is perfect timing. You can use that to undo all of that hard work and damage that Teddor has just done, and that sloping option with the Buzzwell's Jet Punch will not be available to him.
Although the issue that he has with that is that he needs to use Instruct this turn, but he has to also take back that Double Colours Energy, which is going to give him more cards in the hand, which means that it might be difficult. Okay, so he's going with... the Acerola, which makes sense. Delmise goes active, and now he's got quite a lot of cards in hand. It might be quite tricky to try and use a lot of these cards.
I mean, don't get me wrong here. Zakary is still not in a great position. The Acerola buys him an extra turn, but he's still not drawing much of anything. We can see his hand. He's got a Genesect, a Registeel, a Double Colourless, and what was that? I can't. You see a.
He's got a Registeel, a Double Colours. I think that's the Celesteela, the one he's just picked
up, of course, yeah. So not a huge amount to work with, and he's got another Guzma as well, so he can bring up the Sylvali, bring up the Artillery, and then just retreat into the Buzzwole again, and just take the knockout very easily. This is going to be, obviously he's going to do an Abyssal Hand first, but I think Teodor's just taken too much of a commanding setup here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're very shortly going into a game 2.
Yeah, but given that Zakary, he knows that he has more time in this series, this best 2 out of 3 series, so he might want to just try and play it out a little bit before he thinks about conceding, because he has given more time than your standard Swiss rounds. And, he might even still be able to come back. It looks a bit unlikely at this moment in time, but we shall find out. Those are the Pokemon that go on the bench. Instruct for 1. It is a Guzma. But what is he thinking at this moment in time?
Well, it was a very, very timely Guzma draw. But he also not to play it, not going for the stall option instead, just opting to attack with the Celesteela for 120.
And there's a Brooklet Hill.
Yeah, there is a Brooklet Hill, the one he still has left in his deck. But there's the Guzma on the other Celesteela, so he'll be able to retreat, bring that up, and there's the other strong energy, so now Knockout Impact will do enough, even after resistance, to take the knockout, and so Teodor will take game 1.
What a powerful and commanding situation he just got himself into. That was, really incredible from Teodor there. Taking such a commanding state on that game, and that's what I really love about this deck that he's playing today, is that you just keep using things like Guzma, like Lycanroc, to bring up things from the bench and just take KOs on them.
Yeah, it's a really strong over-combining strategy with the Jet Punch hitting on the bench, and as you said, the Lycanroc bringing things up, so you can actually manipulate things in a way where you can almost guarantee that things are KO'd on the bench, so that you can strand something else active which isn't useful to them, but finish things off in that way. The synergy between these two is really powerful. Not only that, Lycanroc GX itself is no slouch as an attacker. Its attacks are actually quite decent.
It's got some pretty good attacks, and another thing actually I should point out, which I really, really liked what Teodor did actually, is that when the Celesteela GX came up, I think Zakary went first, so he had the option to use things like Max Elixir to get more energy on his Celesteela. That became active, and that was kind of intimidating to begin with. But then, Teodor just said I'm just going to use Absorption GX and take that threat immediately away from the board. And as soon as he did that, that's when he started building up some more momentum and getting things like Rockruff into play for his Lycanrocs, and start powering up more Buzzwoles. Very, very powerful Pokemon indeed. And here we can see them. They are setting up for Game 2. Just missed there what Teodor has put in the active spot.
It was a Tapu Lele GX.
Oh, wow, okay. So not your ideal starter. You always want to try and bench that. Let's look at the prize cam while we are waiting. Let's have a look, see what are in the prizes. So we can actually see the prizes this time around because they are face down. Octillery is in the prizes for Teodor. I believe he runs 2 Octillery.
He does.
So that's not so much of an issue. There is 1 Sylvali. Oh, Oranguru is in the prizes for Zakary.
Oh, that is a problem. It is the only one he runs. So, I mean, it is quite low down in the prize cards. So, again, we'll talk about the order people normally take prize cards. Assuming he takes it in a normal order, he should be able to retrieve that quite soon. So, late game N won't. He'll still have that mitigation for the late game N. But in any case, it looks like Zakary has quite a strong start because he has been able to start with the Bridget this time.
He's looking for that Oranguru. You can see him going through that deck looking for that Oranguru. He must think at this point, because obviously he's played the Bridget turn 1. He's going through his deck and he's looking for that Oranguru. I think, he's gone for Registeel. I thought maybe he might have gone for Delmise, but Registeel, I think, is one of the ideal starters with this deck for energy acceleration.
Yeah, but Registeel is what really sort of gets your chain of energy acceleration going. You have the Sylvali that can do the turbo drive to attach to things, but that has an energy cost of free colourless, which granted is still very good and manageable, but in the early turns of the game, not something you would be able to get going as easily, so it makes a lot of sense to...
Oh! Look at those energies.
Sorry to interrupt myself, but Teodor just having a very ugly Professor Sycamore, having to discard a lot of energy. As you mentioned in the last game, Jamie, he doesn't run any kind of energy recovery,
That's
so those
not
energies
good. That's not too
gone
much. better either, to be honest, actually. He's got the Sycamore in hand for next turn, but he's using, in the process, he's going to be discarding a lot more energy. There's 2 strong energy in his hand. Max Elixir, that does not look good for Teddor. The only benefit to that is that he is not in a situation where he can't draw himself out of it. It's just what he loses in the process.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely bad news, though. And and even more bad news to come as Zakary is able to use that gyro unit ability with the Savali to retreat the Genesect for free, bring up the Registeel, and do 60 damage to the Tapu Lele with Turbo Arm, attaching to the Savali in the first place. And there's another Sycamore!
Wow. Okay, so Okay, so he's got a much better hand this time. The question is, how many energy does he have left in his deck that's going to be able to help him to take those prizes? So Brooklet Hill, which is something that he didn't really get much benefit from. He might want to start checking how many energy cards he has left in his deck.
I think I only saw 3.
I think I saw 1 for sure. I didn't see any more, but
I think he's already discarded all of his strong energy, you know.
I think he has, yeah. And looking at his prize cards, he has no energy in his prizes at the moment. This could be pretty rough for Teddor. We'll see how it plays out, but he has plenty of time to try and play this out. But
having just looked at his discard power, it looks like he has 1 strong energy left. So that'll be something. But absolutely, Jamie. The energy in his deck is extremely low, and he's going to have this game, assuming it carries on as it is.
Yeah, sure, but. I mean, he has Buzzwole GX active. He's doing some spread damage. He is trying to add up some numbers, but. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to say the least. But as I said, from Teddor's perspective, he's got an hour left. He's got an hour, which is 10 minutes more than what the average Swiss round is. So, I mean, there is still plenty of time, plenty of time. Sorry, Nick.
I was going to say, not only that, but look at Zachary's hand. He's not got much work with either. He just had to do another Turbo Arm, and then nothing else.
Right, so this could be his opening, but he does have interestingly, he does have an Acerola in hand. So if that Registeel starts, increasing in damage, or if he starts putting some more damage onto the bench, he might even decide to use Acerola and, just reverse all that. I was thinking he could Acerola, if he needs energy, Acerola the active and try and put energy onto Silvally, but that still leaves him 1 short from being able to attack, or not that he wants to because it's weak anyway, but...
And unsurprisingly, the Max Elixirs from Teodor's side will not find any sort of energy at all. There are not many left in the deck, so the odds will not be with him whenever he tries to go for these Max Elixirs. And it looks like he's actually just going for the Ultra Ball, discarding the rest of his hand, and thankfully there is 1 artillery left, so he will be able to do that. I imagine he'll probably be trying to dig for a Guzma here.
Yes, I imagine so. And also, in the sense that if he doesn't find a Guzma, he can use Abyssal Hand and find another supporter like another Professor Sycamore and just use that anyway. So he does have the option of 5. There is 1 Max Elixir, not many targets, but he can certainly try and play them. Did he get an N in hand?
Yes, he did. He also got a Float Stone.
Right, so that could be quite huge. So is he going for Ultra Ball? Okay, so he's got Max Elixir. There is 1 energy. He's got 1 energy. I think maybe one of the very few energies that he does still have left within the deck. I mean, I'm just trying to remember if he put the Rockruff on the bench this turn or if it was in one of the previous turns.
It was one of the previous turns.
Right, so I mean, if he is looking for a Guzma, I mean, he's got the Floatstone Regirox in this game, so he does have the Floatstone. He can maneuver that, then go into the Lycanroc and then use its ability to try and bring something up. Or, as you say, go for the Guzma.
Well, he actually just discarded the Floatstone with the Ultra Ball, so no, he's just going to go for the N. And he was able to find that Regirock as well.
Energy left in the deck.
Or 0, I imagine. Maybe 2, if depending on whether he was looking through and certain things weren't shown properly. But in terms of...
So he's got the energy attachment for the turn, for another energy attachment if you would like to. But what is he looking for here? I can only assume... Oh, Silvally GX. Okay, that's interesting.
So he's going for another Ultra Ball, discarding it.
Right, so that might be why. So we had another Ultra Ball in hand. 2, because it is weak to Lele GX, only has 170 HP. That could be another 2 prizes. Then he's got to find another KO hit from somewhere on an EX or GX Pokemon, unless he goes down the route of knocking...
Go on to the Celesteela. In fact,
I mean, Registeel is just so good in so many things like Rolts and Vulpix for weakness, and that just gives you that energy acceleration. But no, he's going for the Celesteela GX. I believe he has Knockout on his Buzzwole. From Teddor's perspective, his setup is actually okay. The Buzzwole GX, he's got the 2 Rockruffs, Artillery. but the case is he played 2 Professor Sycamores at the any special energy with things like special charge, and then move on to game 3.
Yeah, let's just go to game 3, and then we have plenty of time to make sure that nothing it doesn't end weirdly. Even though, we said earlier, there must be a winner from this match. This is not supposed to
shown that he does have the experience to come
between either starting with Boswell or Zygarde. Going to actually go to the one Zygarde X, which he does play. He does opt to put the Boswell on the active, and does opt to put an extra one on the bench.
There is a line of Remoraid and Octillery there. There is the Regirock again in the prizes. 1 Lycanroc, which again he's hurting Zakary there. There is the Bridget in there. So
if he only plays 1
Ulele GX, which gets him the Bridget, there will be no Bridget in Zachary's deck to help him set up. So that could be a little bit crucial in itself. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it did well. So Teddor was able to start off with the Brooklet Hill this time. Going to use that to grab a Rowlet straight away, but not before looking through again just to make sure he knows everything that's prized. The only really, really vital prize for him is, of course, that 1 Regirock, which he does only play 1 of, but his other Remoraid isn't prized.
See how he utilizes Zygarde EX, because it is a different attacker. There is Max Elixir, so he will have access to energy, which he has not hit on this occasion. So
even if you have all the energy still in the deck, you still miss sometimes.
Still, yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what has just happened there. So unfortunately for Teddor, he has missed that Max Elixir, which he really wants to utilize in the early game. Obviously, strong energy doesn't count as an option with Max Elixir, so he is strictly looking for one of the 9 fighting energy that he plays within the deck. He does have a Float Stone, which he's going to attach, because I believe he's going for the Professor Sycamore, which he is. Is that 2 Professor? No, it's the Lycanroc GX, which the other Lycanroc GX is actually in his prizes. Yeah,
but unlike with the energy, he can actually get back that Lycanroc with the Ron Rescue Stretcher he plays, so not as bad.
It's not as bad, but it could be, maybe a little bit pivotal later. We'll have to wait and see. There is 1 energy attachment on the Buzzwole GX. Does he go into... he can't attack first turn anyway, but does he leave it active? He does leave his Buzzwole active with the Floatstone attached.
Yeah, it's a bit of a risk either way, because you can risk one of 2 things. Either you can risk your opponent having Field Blower and being stuck, or you can risk your Buzzwole taking damage early when it doesn't really need to. And Teddor just deciding that, if he does get rid of the Field Blower, if he does get rid of the float with the Field Blower, I'd rather that than for my Buzzwole to take some early damage.
Absolutely, and this is a very, very smart play on Zachary's side. So Teddor evidently knows that Zakary plays no form of Water-type Pokemon. He does play... no, he doesn't play... He plays Oranguru, not Octillery. So he plays no Water Pokemon, he plays no Fighting Pokemon, but he's still utilizing that Brooklet Hill just to give him additional information within the deck to try and work out what is prized and what he has access to. So... depending on that, that might be enough to work out whether he saw whether Bridget was prized or not. But in this case, he's got 2 Celesteela GX on the bench. He might not even need the Bridget.
Well, and he was just able to get a Type Null with an Ultra Ball as well. So, yeah, a very, very strong setup turn from Zakary, even without a Bridget. And this is why a lot of the time some people opt to play 2 or even 3 copies of Bridget just because they really want to see it turn 1 and want to make sure that they have it. But sometimes even if you only play the 1 and you want to get prized, you can just set up without it. So
absolutely.
So they just figure it's more worth the space for me to include other things instead.
Absolutely, yeah. So in this case, showing that he doesn't really need it. He's got the Registeel, which he started with active. He's got 2 Celesteela, the 1 Type Null. So he looks to be in pretty good shape, and that Bridget hasn't affected him too much. On Zachary's side, though, at this point, you must be assuming that he's going for that Octillery. He is indeed. That has been put. Usually you can tell...
You mean on Teddor's side?
Beg your pardon. On Teddor's side, sorry, did I say Zakary?
Yes, you did.
I beg your pardon. So, on Teddor's side, he is going for that Octillery. So, evidently, that Octillery has shown so much use over the course of this weekend. So, that will give him the ability to use Abyssal Hand, which will bail him out of things like ends, for example, late game ends, and just generally a very, very well-rounded, useful card. So there's another Floatstone.
Yeah, potential danger zone, though. I did just notice that Teddor's Ultra Ball, he did discard 2 basic fighting energies with it. We don't want him to go back to what we saw in the last game, so they're going to be a bit careful of that. He does draw into... No, nothing too useful. He does have another Sickle, which he used to go further, and that is going to be what he opts to do, discarding another fighting energy.
Right.
That is 3 of them gone now. To be fair, still a lot better than last time. At least there's 2 energy on the field this time. But
it is indeed.
But I think Teddor really would love to see a Max Elixir right now, just to get that Buzzwole doing the Knuckle Impact. That would be enough to knock out the Registeel and let him take an early lead.
Sure, and I'm just looking at his deck. He plays 3 Floatstone. So to get that Buzzwole out of the active spot, because if he does go for that Knuckle Impact, which would do 160 damage, knock out that Registeel, that Buzzwole GX won't be able to attack the following turn. So he only has 3 Floatstone within the deck. 2 of them, as you can see, are already in play. There's one on the active Buzzwole. There is also one on the Octillery. But he doesn't go for that play, so... I think he missed the... he must have missed the Max Elixir. So, but on Zakary's side, Katana. Wow.
Ooh. Here comes in Katana with the slice off ability. Is able to discard the strong energy attached to the Buzzwole. It's one of the... this was of course the winner of the poll that we were running yesterday for your favorite GX Pokemon from the Sun Moon Crimson Invasion, and we can see why here.
And yes, Katana did come out on top. I personally would have voted for Buzzwole GX, but that's just me. But absolutely, I can see why Katana is so popular. It's just so powerful in the sense that how prominent special energy is within the format. But Professor Sycamore there for 7 cards. What does he have? Max Elixir in there, so he's going to use Max Elixir. Does he hit the Max Elixir? Yes, he does. Yeah. So the second to last card, he hits it. That goes down on the Celesteela GX.
And I saw a double colours in his hand, so I think he's going to be using a Blaster GX.
Yeah, so here comes Celesteela. And that's what's really great about Celesteela, actually, is that, you have the option of hitting 160 damage. So on top of the 30 damage that's already on Buzzwole, which was... wow, okay. That could be crucial. 2 Floatstones there going to the discard pile. There is only 1 more Floatstone in Teddor's deck.
That's really strong for 2 reasons. First of all, it means that obviously he just has less flexibility generally, but it means that Teddor needs to dig for another Floatstone if he wants to do a play with Max Elixir onto that other Buzzwole. So, in fact,
wow,
he actually just goes to the Turbo Arm. So, playing the more patient game, actually, just decided, let me just build up my energy slowly. I'm in no rush to KO this Buzzwole. It doesn't present enough of a threat to me, and so just going for that strategy instead.
Yeah, and what happened in the first game is when he powered up a Celesteela GX. Teddor kind of responded with his GX attack, which in Absorption GX, which knocked out that Celesteela. And then Zakary didn't really have much of a follow-up. But then you can see in this game, he's going with 2 very evenly balanced Celesteelas. So they both only need a double color synergy to attack, which is very accessible at this point. I believe he does have 1 in hand. So a very patient and very well thought out play here from Zakary.
Yeah, definitely. And he's just gone for the Brooklet Hill there. Didn't find anything off of that. But in the meantime, looks like he's got a couple of strong energy in hand. Going to debate where to put that. It could go onto the Zygarde, it could go onto the Buzzwole, could even go onto the Rockruff. But instead looks like he's going to go for the Tapu Lele first, going to use Wonder Tag, and I imagine, going to grab himself a Guzma there. That will now enable him to switch out of this Buzzwole on the active, which is both damaged and unpowered, and going to be able to switch into something a little bit more useful.
Absolutely, and let's not forget he does play 4 Guzma in that deck, so he is not short of switching cards, and he's going for the type Null here. Interesting play. There goes a strong energy.
This is where Zygarde proves its utility, because with the strong energy combined with the Stadium in play, I do believe that Zygarde's first attack will actually be able to knock out this type Null.
Yeah, and so he will go for the KO and that type Null goes to the discard pile. Does Zakary have a Silvally in play? I can't see. I don't believe he does. He's got 2 Celesteela.
No, he does not.
No, so his Pokemon don't have free retreat either, and he is. He's going for the double colours on the bench.
He is. I believe he has a Guzma in hand, so he's just going to play his Max Elixir first. Power up some more things, but then he will be able to go for the Guzma play. He will be able to bring up the... he doesn't have a Downwise out and play this time, so he won't be able to bring up the Buzzwole and KO it unless he has a Choice Band, but he could maybe go for the damaged Buzzwole, finish that off, or he could even just go for the Tapu Lele and KO that. There's a lot of different options you can go for here, but which one is the best depends on really what he has to work with now.
Absolutely, yeah. And there is the Guzma. He brings up, the Buzzwole on the bench. That kind of makes a bit more sense, I think, just to try and get rid of, try and start taking prizes. Obviously, you do need to take prizes to start winning the game, so there goes... the Buzzwole, there is 2 prizes for Zakary. So he was able to use Celesteela's Moon Press to get the KO that time instead of the Blaster, because the Buzzwole already had 60 damage on it. Moon Press for 130 will be exactly enough to KO the Buzzwole, and that saves Celesteela to be able to use the GX attack later on to finish off something bigger. Yeah, very well calculated there, because he did do another 30, which put the Buzzwole onto 60 damage, and obviously with the Moon Press did 130, so that did add up very nicely. Brooklet Hill, he's going back in deck, probably to use this for a point of information, how many energy are in there, as well as to search something out. And maybe like a Rockruff, I would imagine. He's going for Zygarde.
Yeah, there are actually no Rockruffs available to him. I believe one is in the discard pile and one is already out in the field. So yeah, so they're going to have to go for that non-EX Zygarde, which I can't remember the last time I sort of saw that in a deck list. I know this deck was profiled earlier, and I saw it in there, and I was actually sort of building a list and thinking, what's this do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes even we look at cards and we just think to ourselves, oh, well, there is a strong energy, but he can't obviously use that because it is only a basic Pokemon with the Max Elixir. But even sometimes, some cards in the format do throw us off, and that Zygarde was certainly a card that we weren't expecting.
No, definitely not. So with that, Teddor, actually, as you said, Jamie, does miss the Max Elixir, can't attach the strong energy found from there, which is a little bit sad for him. There goes a Rescue Stretcher. He's going to actually shuffle some stuff in. So he's going to shuffle in 2 Buzzwoles, and I couldn't see what the third card was.
No, it's very quick. Teddor is, I think he's... Is he thinking about time as a factor here? But he's got a lot of time, but he's playing quite sort of hasty in this matchup.
Maybe he's unaware of how much extra time he has. I'm not sure how much experience he has with sort of top cuts at high events before, but that could honestly be it.
Yeah, maybe, but he has plenty of time. Whether or not he knows that, he does have a lot of time. So there is the N. There was no search from that Ultra Ball, so he just tried to thin out his hand a little bit, which is why you didn't see him go back into the deck. You don't have to find a search with Ultra Ball. You can just fail the search because there might not be a target within your deck, and then that's unknown to the opposing player. But he is going with the N. Let's see what he draws off with this N and how it can help him enhance his position.
Yeah, he really would want to. I'm not sure how many Max Elixirs he's been through already, but he would really love to see Max Elixir Floatstone off of this N. I think he saw the Floatstone, but not the Max Elixir.
Right, so he's just one shot. Has he used Abyssal Hand this turn? I don't think he has. In which case, if he hasn't, he can go back into his deck and try and dig for that Max Elixir, which I saw 2 Max Elixirs when he used his last Max Elixir. So we do know there are more Max Elixirs within the deck, but it's just a case of, if he can draw them out. If that is the case that he hasn't used Abyssal Hand, he'll be trying to thin out his hand size as much as he possibly can to try and get the maximum amount of cards.
I can see there is an internal debate in his mind over whether he wants to evolve the Lycanroc as well. He actually does, but opts not to use the ability. Goes to the Abyssal Hand, but he just draws energy, not the Max Elixir.
This is such I guess like a repeat of the second game where he just drew loads and loads and loads of energy to the point where he just had to use Professor Sycamore to get rid of them. But interesting play on Teddor's side to not to evolve the Rockruff into Lycanroc. But on Zachary's side, let's have a look and see what he has. There is a Double Colors Energy on the Celesteela GX. There is a Choice Band on the active Celesteela GX. Does he have... he still has his GX attack, which he hasn't used yet. He's going for Brooklet Hill. Again, no possible searches that he can get from the deck, but it's just to gain information. That's really what the purpose of this... the purpose of using Brooklet Hill is to go back in the deck and just gain information at this point, which is exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and this is going to end up putting Teddor on a world of hurt because this Celesteela, I would be very surprised if it did not use Blaster GX right now just to knock out that Zygarde, deal with it, and then leave Zakary on 2 prizes remaining, and then Teddor will be able to respond with his own Buzzwole on the bench. You can just attach an energy to it, and then there goes the GX stack. Blaster GX. Gonna knock out again, ruining our prize cam.
There goes our prize cam, all our technology to show you guys what are in the prizes. As you can see on the prize cam on the top right, you cannot now see because the prize cam has been turned up. So, but we will try and get an overhead kind of aerial view, if you like, during the game to show you what prizes are left.
And in typical fashion, there is the Max Elixir. There's the next card.
Wow.
1 turn too late.
Never mind. Well, there we go. There's the Max Elixir. And he's got a lot of energy in hand. Will he hit the Max Elixir? And
no.
The answer is no, because most of that energy is within his hand at this current moment in time. Yeah. But he does have, there you go, there is our camera. There is, we are looking at 1 Double Colors Energy left and an Acerola, which actually could be quite useful, I think, the Acerola in this matchup. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Nick.
No, so all I was going to say is, there goes another Abyssal Hand. There is a Guzma that he was just able to draw into. No N though, which is what he ideally would have wanted to see, just to limit Zachary's options as much as possible. The one saving grace for Teddor is that Celesteela, the GX stack has been used now, so it kind of caps at 160 with damage with the Choice Band, or 170 if he's able to get his Delmise out. As it stands right now, this Buzzwole can't be KO'd by the Celesteela, so he's going to have a couple of turns to work with before, unless Zakary is able to find a Guzma.
Absolutely, yeah. So what is he thinking at this point? Is he going for the Absorption GX? Is that what he's doing?
No, I believe actually with the amount of strong energies on it, Knuckle Impact was enough
absolutely.
to get the KO. So
you are right. So he hasn't used his GX attack for the game, so he still has that. That might be enough to get rid of the Celesteela GX for the following turn. But what he would be worried about is that, Zakary only has 2 prize cards remaining. So if he takes a knockout... Sorry, if he does damage to this Buzzwole in this turn, he can then follow it up with something else, which would then, give him the KO and eventually win him the game. But, something that Zakary does have that is quite suspectable to him is that he doesn't have anything like, anything in his deck. He hasn't got Oranguru out, which means that... he is susceptible at this point to a late game end being played and not being able to draw out of that. That could be Teddor's win condition at this point.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the Teddor's best out to win here. Just go all in almost on this Buzzwole. Just it has got enough strong energies on it to KO almost any threat that Zakary could out, and if he's able to find it, just end and pray. In a weird sense, Zachary's almost done part of the work for him because he's end himself at this point, and he's drawn into a Metal Energy and a Rescue Stretcher. Interestingly as well, Zakary opted not to attach double colourless to the type null before going for the N. Maybe he was fearful of... I'm not even sure what he was fearful of, but at this point he has got the Rescue Stretcher in his hand as well. Maybe he was thinking that he just doesn't ever want to evolve that Tiger on Steel Valley because that would be a very easy 2 prizes for Teddor to take.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we were talking about in terms of N. As you can see, Zakary in his hand has 1 Metal Energy and a Rescue Stretcher in his hand, which isn't going to help him too much at this point in time. I'm not sure if he has a Steel Valley GX in the discard pile, which would allow him to kind of maneuver between his Pokemon and have free retreat, so that might be a play that he might be thinking about, but... I think actually one saving grace for Zakary is I believe he might have drawn out his Oranguru from the prizes. I think that is now in his deck. So if he can have access to that, he might be able to get Oranguru out.
Yeah, it is definitely in his deck, but he won't have access to it right now because I've just seen his hand is right now Rescue Stretcher plus Metal Energy.
Absolutely right, yeah. So he won't be able to get it out of the deck at this moment in time, but he knows that it is within the deck. And that, as we were saying at the beginning of the game, is very, very crucial to a lot of players at this moment, in the later game, is having things like Oranguru, which can draw you out of, sort of end situations, and things like Octillery as well. There is a Max Elixir on Teddor's side. Is he going to... He's missed it again. He is not doing too well.
Do you know why he missed it? Because he can't not draw energy to save his life. He drew into free energy off of that Sycamore again.
Wow. That's incredible, isn't it? It seems that all the energy is kind of remaining, within his hand, and he is not able to get it out of his hand. It's great to be able to manually attach them, but he wants to be able to accelerate energy much faster than what he has been able to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's really not been ideal, and in fact, there goes the basic fighting onto the Lycanroc. He's probably going to be looking to maybe do a dangerous Rogue GX at a later stage in the game, and yeah, he's actually just going to opt for the retreat on the Buzzwole, deciding it's too risky to leave active, going to bring up that Zygarde, and he will be forced to pass.
Yeah, and it's a safe play on Teddor's side. Now he's probably hoping that my opponent doesn't have Guzma. There is an Ultra Ball. He could go into Tapu Lele GX, he could go into Oranguru. There are a few options that Zakary has. That was a really, really crucial top deck at this point. Does he have game at this point? Could he go into Guzma to try and help it?
The problem with Guzma is that he has nothing that he can really retreat with because he discarded the Rescue Stretcher with the Ultra Ball. He can't Rescue Stretcher for the Sylvale, which would give him a basis for retreat. Then he could have done that play. Instead, he's actually a little bit stuck. That isn't quite the game-winning Ultra Ball it could have been.
Yeah, I think he's like 2 cards away from being able to win this match, which would be maybe the Sylvale and the Guzma at this point. But Oranguru, actually, I was about to say, could be a good play at this point, just because it doesn't force him to use his supporter card for the turn. He might draw into something, but if he draws into nothing, that could be quite pivotal at this moment, at this stage of the game, because we are so deep into the game.
Yeah, there's there's a Sylvale, there's a double colorless, and another Sylvale.
Okay. So we know that he has free retreats, but no supporter cards for the turn, which he won't have. So what is his best strategy at this point? Does he promote Registeel? Does he go for the KO on the Zygarde? It's quite difficult to say. I think, yeah. And obviously, another factor you have to consider as well is that if he evolves into that Sylvale, that could potentially be, knowing how much, Lycanroc and Guzma Teddor runs, that is fighting weak, which means that, Teddor could potentially knock it out and take 2 prize cards, and then he's only 1 knockout away after that from winning the game.
Yeah, absolutely is. And forgive me, or correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe I just saw a double colors get attached to that Kartana GX. And could we possibly be seeing Kartana I can't remember the name of the attack. That's 70 that goes back into the deck. Could we possibly be seeing that? In any case, Teddor has got another basic energy for the Lycanroc. He will be able to use the Dangerous Rogue GX to actually, I believe, knock out the Celesteela. It does 50 damage times the amount of bench Pokemon the opponent has. So, yeah, that will be a knockout on the Celesteela.
Wow. So Brooklet Hill going back into the deck, trying to work out what's prized, what contents are still left in the deck. Probably is a very smart play there to get a fresh Buzzwole GX. He already has one on the bench, but you don't want to be promoting that Buzzwole that has all the damage on it unless you know that you are guaranteed a KO or you're going to win the game. But yeah, so as you say, that is a knockout on the Celesteela. There is a GX attack. You can see the GX counter flipped upside down, so you know he's using his GX attack. There goes Celesteela in the discard pile.
Yeah, Dangerous Rogue, and gets the Guzma off the top of the deck.
Wow, so
he gets the Guzma off the top of the deck. That is enough to do the KO with Silvally, and Zakary is going to advance into the top 4.
That was such a top deck. I mean, you got to feel for Teddor. I mean, he did so well to get himself into that position, and then Zakary at the last second top deck Zach Guzma, and he obviously had that Silvally in hand, which got him the game. So very, very, very well played to both of these players. That was a fantastic game to watch and to spectate.
Unbelievable top deck there from Zakary in the nick